So we have found ourselves in Florida today. Why? Because that's where all the criminals are at. All the older ladies at 1:30 in the morning allegedly running a red light. That's what they're doing right now. And then they tear up hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cars to try to stop her when they could have just said, if she ran a red light, in my opinion. I don't think she did, but we'll look at the video. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, it's 1:30 in the morning. There's no traffic on the road. What's the big deal? Or you have her tagged. You know where she lives. Follow her to the house. No. They pull out hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment to try to stop this car. So let's go to On Patrol right quick, the biggest bootlicking community on the internet right now, and see what they're up to. Also, I would like to note we're down to 79% of people that watch this channel are not subscribed to it. You got your phone in your hand, your laptop, click the button and we'll move along. So let's see what On Patrol has to say.
This one is going to take us to Pinellas County, Florida, and a traffic stop that seemed like it was right out of a spy novel.
113th and
Of course, this one stops already when I have questions about the lights. Also, you're going to hear, I'm probably going to have to mute this part out. So I'll put the captions up so you can see what they're saying. And because I'm going to have to mute this out because YouTube will strike me for the music. But here's where we're at.
1:30 a.m. and a Pinellas County deputy has just pulled over this Toyota hatchback for running a red light.
yes. I need you to pull over into that parking lot over there. You're in the middle of the road right now.
I'm so sorry about that.
Okay, can you pull into that parking lot over there?
Which one?
That bank right there. Because you're in the middle of the road right now.
Well, I went.
You're in the middle of the road. Go to that parking lot over there. Do you understand?
That's a very funny story. Don't go this way.
Also, I'm betting that lady don't like the way this cop is talking to her. Maybe the cop could take it down a tone or two.
I'm a CIA couple.
The driver says something about the CIA, though not sure the deputy is buying her story.
Okay, can you pull over to that or no?
No, I gonna go.
Okay, well, you need to turn your vehicle off for me. Seminole 30. Can I go to
CIA.
The driver rolls up her window and pulls away. The officer already knows her identity, so at this point, she isn't too worried. Moments later, officer...
Also, I'd like to note, there's a bumper guard, a brush guard, right there for pit stops. And they've already deployed spike sticks, so her tires are flat.
catch up with the driver. Her car now disabled after running over spike strips.
Front driver's side tire is completely flat. It's about to flail off in here a couple seconds. Pulling up to a stop at 177th Avenue West. 177th Avenue West, Gulf Boulevard.
At last, the driver comes to a complete stop. Instead of putting her hands out the window, she begins reaching around, making officers very nervous.
Driver, put your hands up and put your hands outside of the vehicle.
During the initial pullover, the driver seemed to have a Russian accent, so an officer tries using the translator app on his phone.
Oh, there's a gun. She's pointing it out. Yep.
Also, I would like to note, with all the body cameras and all the dash cameras they have, they only released the one body cam of this alleged gun that you see nothing.
This has suddenly turned very dangerous. Once more, they try speaking to her in Russian.
It's turned dangerous because they've made it dangerous. They didn't even have to stop her. She ran a red light, allegedly, at 1:30 in the morning. No traffic on the road.
Perhaps now she understands what they're saying.
All right, I believe she put the gun down. I don't see it in her right hand that last time, but let me confirm if I see it in my hand again.
Oh, she's going again. She's moving. She's moving. She's on.
Hey guys.
Oh, hey, get back.
As the driver takes off,
If she takes off, we're gonna let her leave.
Yep.
officers choose to play it safe and not engage. Meanwhile, an armored vehicle has been called in and is now catching up with the driver. That's a mine-resistant...
That's a MRAP. That is what they use in Iraq and Afghanistan. Those things build out at somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million. And the maintenance and upkeep is thousands of dollars a month. But who cares? They're not paying for it. Also, I'd like to note that the police departments aren't paying the build-out cost. They're getting them shipped to them for only $2,000. They have tons of them.
ambush-protected vehicle, otherwise known as an MRAP. And it's designed to protect troops in combat zones.
Troops in combat zones. So what does it say police think about the pesky citizens? I'm just saying.
The armored vehicle moves in for the pit.
Alright, attempted pit. Still northbound through Whitehurst. It's moving back up. Good pit, good pit.
It was not.
The Toyota is now stuck in...
They use a 15 to 18 ton armored vehicle to try to pit a Tic Tac. Make that make sense. All these cars have brush guards on them just for that. But no, they have to keep putting these on the road to justify having them. That's why that's there.
Sparks are really starting to fly. The driver floors it and the car comes free.
They fire at her so many times. It is ridiculous. I didn't even try to count them. There must have been, I don't know, 20, 30. They hit her 3 times. And then the bootlickers in the comments will be like, oh, those officers are so well trained. They're not, and I'll show you why they're not.
The driver heads straight for the patrol car and crashes into the door.
Right here. Here she is coming out. There's cops here, and there's cops over here on it behind this truck.
The car is now wedged between 2 police vehicles. Yet
So,
she continues.
it seemed like somebody might pull up and block it from here and block it from the back, at least. I don't know. And they say they used pepper balls and beanbags before they used the lethal. I saw none of that.
Used to rev the engine.
Firearm, right hand! Firearm, right!
Also, he just flanked them. But firearm right hand, you never see that. They're going to shoot, and they're going to shoot. In the interim, you have crossfire. That's how well trained them dumbasses are. And the female trying to hide behind something.
Head on into a patrol car. Now, 65-year-old Marina De Filippo is recovering from several gunshot wounds. Police confirmed that the CIA was not following her. She's now facing 2 counts of aggravated assault, as well as aggravated battery and fleeing. Thankfully, none of the officers involved were seriously hurt.
Thankfully, the thin blue line gets to go home. Please stop with this shit. So I'm going to pop up this video just for a second. We're not going to watch the whole thing because I don't know why these lights are green, the next set of lights are red, and then the next set of lights are green. I don't know what is going on with that. I'll show you why I'm doing this. I can't do that. I mean, I can, but I can't get to the pause. Right here. And you're looking at the camera video, so it's going to distort it. That looks, it looks red, but I'll tell you why I think it's yellow. See them change? Watch. Watch the lights. See them change? So, I don't know if that's because of the headlights, but it seems like the headlights would have still been hitting the same angle no matter what. Watch the lights. See them change to red? I don't know. Even if she ran a red light, that is not the crime of the century. I'm sorry, it is not. Anyway, let's see what is going on with the MRAPs that everybody has to have. Tampa Bay law enforcement sees value in military MRAPs. A 33-ton vehicle towers at about 10 feet. Its massive metal frame supported by 6 tires that can trudge easily through mud, sand, and high water. Its price tag is $733,000. But for only $2,000, law enforcement agencies nationwide, including some in the Tampa Bay area, have been able to snag these mine-resistant vehicles used to protect troops in Iraq and Afghanistan against roadside bombs. The hell they need them for in law enforcement stateside. I'm just saying. Since August, now these are older articles. Since August 2013, the Department of Defense has distributed 600 of them to law enforcement. 45 of the vehicles known as MRAPs now belong to police departments in Florida, 5 in the Tampa Bay area. These vehicles are awesome. They really are, said Tarpon Springs Police Chief Robert Koken. I could never afford a vehicle like this if the federal government wasn't supplying it to us. Yes, that's why you don't need it. Pasco County Sheriff's Office, as well as the Tarpon Springs and Clearwater Police Departments, are now equipped with 1 MRAP each. The Pinellas County Sheriff's Office has 2. I guess they're special. Since the 1990s, the federal government has been transferring surplus military equipment such as vehicles, aircrafts, boats, and weapons to police departments through the Defense Logistics Agency. Police don't own the gear, but instead typically pay a transfer fee that allows them to use the equipment. Yes, for the low price of $2,000 each. Taxpayers, it is prudent to allow law enforcement agencies to use MRAPs versus scrapping them or allowing them to sit in storage if a military service does not need the excess vehicles. Well, how about quit building so fucking many of them between $500,000 and $1 million apiece? Mimi Schermacher, a spokeswoman for the Defense Logistics Agency, said in a statement. But in a 98-page report released last month, the American Civil Liberties Union raised questions about the potential militarization of police departments. Absolutely. Look at all the shit they wear. They don't even use half of it, but every year or two they need more of the new shit, more of the shit that they don't use. Among the findings, SWAT teams, which typically respond during high-risk situations, often use armored military vehicles to respond to minor incidents such as serving warrants to a low-level drug case or, trying to pit a tic-tac. The problem often is that there is very little policy or protocol or guidance in place to determine what is high risk, because they'll say everything's high risk. That is left entirely to an officer's discretion, said ACLU Center for Justice Senior Counsel Kara Dansky, the report's primary author. We think there should be a lot more specificity in terms of defining what is high risk. Local authorities said the MRAPs will be used only in rare occasions. Total bullshit. We just saw one that was not a rare occasion. These officers put their lives on the line, Koken said. If anyone wants to tell me I'm over-militarizing the department, then so be it, but I don't agree with that. Well, you're full of bullshit. Tarpon Springs Police will use its MRAPs to evacuate residents during major flooding as well as some SWAT calls. The city's fire department may also use the vehicle to respond to some emergencies such as explosions. The police department is using between $15,000 and $25,000 in forfeiture funds to repurpose the MRAP. Yes, they're expensive to maintain. So every time they pull a car over for some bullshit, well, you didn't come to a complete stop at the stop sign, or you didn't brake 200 feet before you're going to make a left-hand turn. You didn't use your turn signal. So that gives them a reason to stop the vehicle, and then they walk up and, well, I smell marijuana. Get out of the car. And then they search the car. Any money they find, anything, they're keeping it. Civil asset forfeiture, they're keeping it. And try to get that shit back. So they're going to rob you of your money on some bullshit premise that you didn't come to a complete stop at a stop sign. They're going to take that money, and they're going to do the upkeep on these damn MRAPs they got no business owning. Florida's smallest police department gets a mine-resistant armored vehicle. Flagler Live. They have no business with that. Sorry. The Fort Pierce Police Department's MRAPs, one of 20 distributed to police agencies in Florida last year. Fort Pierce Police Department. The Florida Center for Investigative Reporting on May 10th published an infographic and searchable database breaking down the types of surplus military equipment as well as their monetary values doled out to civilian law enforcement agencies in Florida. Notice they said civilian law enforcement agencies. I keep trying to tell you people, they are civilians. If you're not a member of the armed forces, you are a civilian. Now, interdepartmentally, law enforcement, the ones that wear the badges and the guns, anybody else that works in there that is not in law enforcement is civilian to them. They got to try and be all big deal and they got to be important. No, they're not. They're civilians just like everybody else. The research revealed that the United States Department of Defense has prioritized 47 mine-resistant armored vehicles, also known as MRAPs, to dozens of police agencies throughout the state. MRAPs are designed specifically to withstand improvised explosive device attacks and ambushes by enemy forces in combat zones. So we're enemy forces, and the United States is a combat zone. On Monday, now I told you these articles were older, the Obama administration announced that it would be scaling back the militarized hardware it makes available to local police agencies. From 2007 to 2012, the Pentagon put more than 12,000 MRAPs into service in the Iraq and Afghanistan war. Yes, the never-ending war. Thank you, 9/11. All total bullshit. Now, many of those MRAPs are being unloaded to 780 domestic civilian law enforcement agencies, many of which are on waiting lists to receive the vehicles. They can't wait to receive them. To receive an MRAP, law enforcement agencies have to meet certain criteria by providing justification for use, such as shooting incidents, SWAT operations, and drug interdiction. Geographical areas and multi-jurisdictional use are also factors, as is a department's ability to pay for repairs and maintenance and guarantee security and restricted access to the vehicle, according to a 2014 National Defense Magazine article. The MRAP received prominent media attention last year when police in Ferguson, Missouri rolled out one of the vehicles in response to civil unrest and protest after a grand jury declined to press charges against former officer Darren Wilson in the shooting death of an unarmed black teenager, Michael Brown. Yes, that whole thing was a complete shit show. No, I'm just saying, if you want to try to take the gun, I'm just saying. Of the 47 MRAPs delivered to Florida law enforcement agencies, 20 have been given to small and mid-sized municipal police departments. Here are some facts about the MRAPs, where MRAPs are being used in Florida. You ready for this one? Florida International University is the only state college with an MRAP on campus. The FIU Police Department received one last year when the Pentagon distributed MRAPs to 60 universities across the country. These things are for war zones. The Coral Gables and Fort Pierce Police Departments each have 2 MRAPs to deal with any possible insurgencies in their respective cities. Police departments in 10 Florida cities and towns where Black and Hispanics account for more than 40% of the population received MRAPs. MRAPs have been deployed in 12 Florida cities and towns where the population is less than 50,000 people. The Department of Defense sent MRAPs to 14 police departments in towns and cities where the annual crime rate dropped by 2% or more, according to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement's 2013 annual crime report, the most recent available. You can't say that's because you got some damn $500,000 piece of equipment. The MRAPs were awarded to 16 police departments in municipalities where 15% to 35% of the population lives below the national poverty level. So what they're telling me here is 16 police departments, 15 to 35% of the population lives below the poverty level. So what you're trying to tell me is people that live below the poverty level that are Black and Hispanic are criminals. That's what this article is saying. 18 MRAPs valued at $733,000 each were delivered to 17 law enforcement agencies between February and May 2014. Law enforcement officials have claimed MRAPs enhance SWAT time response to hostile situations as well as provide effective assistance during disaster relief efforts, but civilian libertarians argue that MRAPs don't belong outside of the military theater. They do not belong. They're expensive. They're expensive to maintain. They get like 5 miles to the gallon, and it costs, they hold like 70 or 80 gallons. So it would cost, I don't know, $240, $250 to fill it up. And then they just want to ride around town and try to pit some Tic Tacs. In an interview with Fusion Network last year, FIU Police Chief Alexander Casa defended his department's use of the MRAP. As a homeowner, you have to have a fire alarm in your home, but you hope to God that you never have to actually depend on it, Casa said. It's the same thing with us and this equipment. It is not. It is not. It is not comparing apples to apples. It's comparing apples to oranges. This is a 15-ton combat zone ready piece of equipment. And they will ride it out. They'll take it to shows. They'll show it off. They need none of that. Sorry. However, local chapters of the American Civil Liberties Union around the nation have called on police departments to stop using MRAPs. In a report released last year, ACLU Senior Counsel Kara Dansky decried the use of MRAPs and other military equipment provided by the Pentagon to local police agencies. We found that police overwhelmingly use SWAT raids not for extreme emergencies like hostage situations, but to carry out such basic police work as serving warrants or searching for a small amount of drugs, Dansky said. Carried out by 10 or more officers armed with assault rifles, please stop, flashbang, grenades, and battering rams. These paramilitary raids disproportionately impact people of color, sending the clear message that the families being raided are the enemy. Ooh. So, yeah. And to wrap it up, the high cost of free MRAPs, and this is just Modsville Police Department, this is some yammering here. Using what is most commonly known as the 1033 program, law enforcement agencies throughout the United States and its territories are able to obtain excess military equipment that would otherwise be destroyed. Quit fucking making so much of it. The program is free to law enforcement agencies. They only have to pay for shipping. Most of the equipment that is transferred into the hands of law enforcement is fairly inconsequential. Blankets, boots, radios, computer monitors, even some forklifts. But some of the equipment is less inconspicuous. Perhaps the most infamous use is the acquisition of MRAP vehicles by local police department. MRAPs were deployed in response to the growing number of U.S. casualties being killed in improvised explosive devices, IEDs, during the Iraq War. Nearly $50 billion was invested in the program, and about 24,000 vehicles were produced. Why? Why we need so many of them? When the MRAP program ended, domestic law enforcement agencies are sometimes given the surplus vehicles, some of which weigh up to 20 tons. Yes. The argument frequently goes like this: acquiring this equipment is free, so why not get it just in case? Aside from the optics problem that stems from equipping civilian police officers with military-grade equipment, which has been written about all over the place, there is a very real financial problem with doing so. Acquiring the equipment may initially be free, but what are the long-term costs? Yes, here we go. Also, can we fucking shave? Can we lose some weight? I don't even know what the hell these two are supposed to be. ROTC? I don't know. In 2014, blog post published by Citizens Against Government Waste staff member Sean Kennedy quoted Major Rodney Lipscomb II, who said that MRAPs consistently require replacement of heavy-duty transmissions, engines, axles, and tires. This amount of maintenance for a specialized military equipment is likely to cost a lot. Even in instances where the vehicle remains stored away for long periods of time, a regular amount of maintenance will still be required. John W. Whitehead, president of the Rutherford Institute, wrote in a letter to the City Council of Nampa, Idaho, that the costs associated with acquiring military equipment like the MRAP can add up to tens of thousands of dollars yearly in maintenance and repair. In some extreme cases, acquiring what looks like a free piece of heavy-duty equipment has ended up costing a town and its residents upwards of $2 million. That you hadn't even put on the road yet. That's just upkeep and maintenance. Turns out free can come with a lot of costs. Yes, the 1033 program allows for an efficient relocation of basic supplies and equipment from the federal government to local law enforcement agencies. But in order to truly thrive, our communities need a radically new way of thinking about the way we build our world. In part, this means that we prioritize resilience over efficiency. Seems like they got that not quite right. When making decisions about how to allocate resources, cities and towns across the country must ask themselves, is this immediately addressing a community struggle? It is not. It's that standard we apply to roads, sidewalks, and pipes. And it applies to deciding whether a piece of heavy-duty military equipment is actually the best use of our community's time, energy, and resources. Yes, no, it's a complete waste of time, money, energy for everybody. Particularly when you're going to use it to put a tic-tac. I'm just saying, I don't understand what is wrong with it. I do understand because they always got to have something. And then, of course, this gun, I thought I had a picture of what they were saying was a gun. I'll find one and put it up. But yes, they just can't not. Yes, that big ass truck to pit that little teeny tiny Tic Tac. Anyway, that's where we're at with this one. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Also, again, 79% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. You got your phone in your hand, you're at your laptop, click the button, and we'll move along. Let me know what you think about this one, and I'm out.